First item is roll call. Gozar?
Here.
Toth?
Here.
Jones here. Can you please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 3, we have a public hearing, fiscal year 2025-2026 Albany County proposed budget. Would anyone like to make a comment at the public hearing for fiscal year 2025-2026 Albany County proposed budget? Good morning, ladies.
Good morning, Commissioner Jones. We are here today to present some changes, I think, that have occurred to the budget since we last met on the 17th. I'm going to lead with the good news. Thanks. So, a running joke, but sorry. So on the totals worksheet, I'm unable to get that shared because I didn't have the link before I stood up, but yeah, I was gonna try. Did you get the link? Do you want me to exit really quick?
What link?
The Zoom link?
Yes, I got it.
Let me post the. You won't get a read only. Okay, so since we last met, we received the PILT money, which is a large portion of our general fund revenue. PILT we had budgeted at a little over 1 million, I think it's 1.2 million. PILT came in over $2 million this year, which was $831,147 more than budgeted.
Can you give me that number one more time?
Amanda, you want to go to that first?
Which tab is it in?
The second from the left, where it has GFDA, it's the totals, on the totals.
Anissa, could you hit that button?
Oh, yes, I'm
please?
sorry.
Thank you.
I've learned to just round it out.
There we go. And we can all hear again. Hey, look at that. I don't have to yell now. All right, that's $831,147. After presenting some commissioners with information last week, it was also suggested that we take that amount that we got over in PILT and make it available for transfers for whatever use the commissioners dictate. So it's in the cash on hand, but I'm pulling it out down below in the colorful transfers. If Amanda, you want to scroll down right there, maybe make that a little bigger. Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
Then just to the right over there, you'll see the total funds available for transfer. So after we plugged in all the numbers, and Kayla has a number of changes that she will review, there are some excess funds in various special revenue funds. One of them being the 1% optional. There's $871,964. That number will change slightly because depending on your action on item number 8, it will be reduced just a little bit. Direct aid has, at the time of my printing, it was $452,000, but we worked in the surface water drainage fee that the city has rolled out to about $60,000 a year expense to the Albany County properties, which include a large list: fairgrounds, library, search and rescue building, road and bridge,
Annex Beach.
here. Next on that list of available to transfer is that $831,000, which is that overage over what we budgeted for PILT. And then that leaves about $120,435 from the general fund in excess of the expenditures. And I will let Kayla outline some of those expenditure changes from.
Okay, so I'm just gonna recap a little bit about what we went over. When you guys went through the list of 1% community partners listing, you guys had indicated at the meeting that you wanted to take out any agency that had to deal with animals. You wanted to deal with people first. Home on the Range slipped through. So I just need direction as to whether or not you guys want me to leave their funding in, or if you'd like me to remove that from the list. And we can do that during the item number 10, but I just want to bring it up to you right now. We went over, the county is covering the increase in retirement for law enforcement at that 0.9%. And then of course the 0.9% goes to the employee as well. There's a 1% increase in salaries to all department heads, 1.9% increase to all non-sworn employees out of the general fund budget. This does not include grant funded employees because of the fact that that has to be budgeted within their grant. 1% is in the budget for the sworn deputies. Sheriff Appelhans already has that in his budget to do that. You guys had mentioned in the meeting that you talked a little bit about level funding for the fairgrounds and the library. Just want to make sure that there's no change to that this year. Is that just a conversation that you guys want to have further? Like I said, we don't need to make any decisions. I just want to bring all this up now and then we can talk about it in the agenda item. Board of Equalization, I have increased that budget to 3,000 rather than 1,000. I just want to make sure we have enough to cover. We only have one, but the court reporters are very expensive. Costs have gone up. So I just want to make sure we have enough in there. So I've, excuse me, increased that budget to 3,000. We had our health insurance management team meeting last week, and the max liability to cover our health insurance is $3.5 million. We originally had 3 million budgeted. We need to budget an additional 500,000 to cover that max liability because we don't want to get caught not having the funds in there to cover the claims that we have coming through. Let's see, we upped the Tyler amount to 300,000 in the 415 account, which is the account for IT. We are going to push the rollout of payroll until the first of the year. And the reason why we're going to do that is so that we don't have two W-2s from two separate systems. One thing we don't want to mess with, and that's people's paychecks. So it's not stopping it's just extending it out so that we can make sure that we have parallels for the next 6 months that work perfectly. So we upped that some just to cover that additional help with Tyler. EMA health insurance, we put it at 30,000 in the grant match. Don't know what it was prior, but we changed that. And I think other than when we talk about the city of Laramie about the surface water drainage, that Tracy did work that into direct aid, but that'll be a discussion that we have here further down the budget. Those are the changes that we made after the public hearing. Those are reflected in the budget right now. But I just wanted to let you guys know that we did those. So that's all I have.
So everything you just mentioned is already in the budget.
It is already in there, yes. Other than the home on the range, I left that in. I did not do anything with that.
$1,000.
It's like, I don't know, 1,400 or something like that. But you guys can make that decision during the during the regular item. But I don't know if anybody else would like to speak. Those are all the changes that we had.
You look like you were looking for something to bite you from behind. Okay, thank you, Kayla and Tracy. Item 4, any comments from the public?
We'll have to close the public.
Oh, I'm
hearing if
sorry.
Nobody else.
We have a motion to close the
I'll
public
move to
hearing.
close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 4, comments from the public. Do we have anyone that would like to make comments either in the room or online? Is there anyone that would like to make public comment today, either in the room or online? Hearing nothing, may I have a motion?
Yeah, so moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
It looks like you have 3 people in the waiting room.
Oh, I can't see that. Thank you. Thank you guys for being patient. I'm not tall enough to see you. Okay. Did any of you need to make public comment this morning? Okay. Item 5, consider changes to the agenda. Did anyone need to make?
No, I don't have any.
Seeing no changes to the agenda, we'll move on to item 6, disclosures.
I have none.
Same for me.
I have none. Thank you. Item 7, present for approval Amendment 1 to the fiscal year 2025 1% community partners funding between Albany County and Family Promise. Haley, good morning.
Good morning, commissioners. So, Celeste from Family Promise called me last week. They've had some turnover and they've had a hard time filling that one position. The position has been filled and now they have like $1,000 left to spend on last year's 1%. So we're just want to extend the current agreement just till the end of July. And Celeste is here if you have any questions for her.
Come on up.
Yeah, so as Bailey mentioned, we just had our case manager position open for a few months during the spending timeline, and I want to be sure the money's going to families. So we just have like $1,000 left to spend, and we should be able to do that in July.
I have no questions or comments.
Move we approve the community partner funding extension request as presented.
I'll second.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Item 5, discuss surface water drainage fees as they pertain to Albany County properties. Did I miss one?
8.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. 8, request for financial assistance for the Albany County Fairgrounds to pay for well pump repairs in the amount of $6,873.45. Good morning, Kayla.
Good morning. I don't know, Taylor knew it was on, but she must be busy this morning. Taylor had come to me last week, and I think Commissioner Hoff was also out at the fairgrounds as well. They had a water issue with their vault well pump. I don't know.
It's a big concrete
yeah,
box
thank
in the
you.
ground that flooded, and that's where all their water infrastructure comes out.
So I know that this has been turned into the insurance. I'm not sure that it will be covered at all. I know that they are asking for some help in paying for it. My thought is if for some reason it does get covered by the insurance, it would just go back into the county's insurance fund and then it would just stay there. But it's at a total of the $6,873.45. There is money in 1%. Tracy and I just talked about this before. It's just really your guys' pleasure as to whether or not you would like to assist the fair board or the fairgrounds in paying for those repairs.
Right.
Not good ones. No, I think probably should go ahead and do it. I go ahead and get it taken care of until we figure out a more stable way to keep them from having to come back and beg for money every time something breaks or goes wrong out there. Then yeah, we're gonna have covering costs. I did emphasize though to them that if they need to start taking care of the preventative maintenance, this is years and years of, I don't know if it's neglect or if it's just, it's a vault. It's buried in the ground. Yeah. You probably don't want to climb down there and take a look at it any more often than you need to. And to be honest with you, I don't even know if I'd fit through the hole to get down into it. So,
So if you have claustrophobia, you're gonna have a
and
problem.
you need a skinny plumber. But Road and Bridge, in order to fix it, actually brought over their excavator and took the lid off. So the whole thing could be accessed. I don't know if we need to emphasize that we need more monitoring in case there is an issue, that a light goes off or a horn goes off or something happens. But I think they're just dealing with 50 years of infrastructure
That was always shortchanged.
so.
Yeah, so has the insurance company been called and?
Yeah, they've put everything through, but I think I don't know that it will be covered. I haven't heard from the insurance, but I think cause the repairs have to go forward, cause it controls their water out there, obviously. So, I think it's just a matter of wanting to get it done. And then, like I said, if it is covered by the insurance, is what we can do is with the insurance check, Sunny deposits those and it can just go back to the general fund. And then they would not get reimbursed, obviously.
Okay, fair enough.
And we need to do it as soon as possible.
We'd like to
since
do it
Jubilee
before the
Days
end of
is
the fiscal
on
year
its
to
way. Yeah.
get this taken care
I
of
believe it's
today.
already repaired.
It's already repaired.
Yeah, because they had,
Oh,
I think
okay.
they had an event last week, or when was Tri-Hydro's?
Last weekend.
Yeah, they needed it fixed because they had the whole
Okay.
place
Well,
rented
and
out.
they just had Gem City this last weekend.
Oh,
too.
yeah. Yeah,
It
so
was,
the
it was a
weekend
very
before.
busy place.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think it's just a matter of
Yeah.
getting it paid. Yeah.
So, we need to specify which fund it comes out of.
1%.
Okay,
That's right.
just, move that we, provide financial assistance to the Albany County Fairgrounds to pay for the well pump repairs in the amount of $6,873.45 out of the 1% fund.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Okay, now 9. Discuss surface water drainage fees as they pertain to Albany County properties.
Okay, so I had a little conversation with the city on Friday at Kayla's behest because she wasn't getting any answers from the city. And the city, I talked to Mark Hazlitt, who's the civil engineer for the city, who was reluctant to divide any of the properties. The way they've got it for the south end of town where Road and Bridge, SAR, Weed and Pest, the fire drill grounds, and the fairgrounds is all lumped into one unit. According to the city's map, it's 2,420 units of ground coverage, impermeable ground.
Impervious.
Layer. They were able to break that out for me roughly, so that I could at least get the fairgrounds broken off. The county has a total, including the fairgrounds, Road and Bridge, the SAR building, the county annex on 3rd Street, the Beach Street property, 501 Ivinson, public health, the courthouse, the library, the jail, and the fire drill grounds, for a total of 2,891 units, which, as I understand the units, is a 500 square foot aerial section of impermeable ground. It doesn't include it doesn't include just soil and anything where water would naturally leach in. The first year at $1.67 a unit cost the county $4,827.97 for an annual cost to the county of $57,935.64. And that's the first year at that rate. The following year will bump up to $1.75 a unit, which will bring our monthly total to $5,059.25, and our annual expenditure to $60,711 even. There is room for exemptions, but it doesn't look like the county or anything is included. It looks, we were going through that earlier. So yeah, that's the long and short of it.
So we figured it was about
No more than $60,000 for this year.
$60,000 a year for all the county properties.
Supposedly, the drill grounds has already been discussed. I asked Jennifer what the contract, I doubt this is even envisioned in the contract for anything like that. I was told that it was just going to be a pass through, that if we did get a bill to send it back to the city and they'd take care of it, but we don't have that in writing and we have no correspondence from the city to verify any of this. I think the only correspondence we got was a note on the the water bill,
Yeah.
indicating that you needed to check the website and do all the formulations yourself. And beyond that, I got on the counties or the city map and did all this and figured out all the water units. And then I got on the county's GIS system and tried to make sure I wasn't missing any properties. So
there's a chance they might not charge us. Is that what I'm hearing?
only if we go before the city and it looks like request an exemption, under, I'll find it here. If we request an exemption under the city's regulation 13.80.020 and become one of the exemptions listed in Part B. But it looks like we would have to request that. There is no language for requesting an exemption. Just that there were 4 types of exempted properties. One was the public right of way, public streets and sidewalks. Number 2 is rails and associated rail ballast. The 3rd is city zoned agricultural land, and the 4th is airport property located within the perimeter fence of the secured airfield.
So as Tracy spoke earlier about direct aid, we have budgeted the 60,000 for all county properties. That'll be your guys' decision as to whether or not you want to cover all county properties. I mean, I think the Fair Board, we kind of figured, I mean, that's a $24,000 increase to their budget right before, which they've already approved their budget. So it's a pretty hard to expect people to do that, but that is truly up to you guys as to whether or not you want to cover that. But that was mine and Tracy's recommendation, is that we cover all Albany County properties of those fees, and that would just come out of direct aid.
I'm just looking to see, that might be 10% of their, no, it's not.
It's quite a bit though.
It is.
It's a lot of money.
It's 5%, I think. Oh, yeah, it's over 5%. So, yeah, I think we're probably just gonna have to do a line item for all county property this late in the game to cover it, all eventualities. And that needs to come out of direct aid.
And I don't think we need to make a motion on this item because it'll come out of the budget, so we'll have it on there, but we just wanted to bring this
Okay.
forward for
And
discussion.
That is our microphone.
Okay. Thank you, Chad.
Now you can hear us. Okay, so home on the range, we're gonna keep in 1% at 1,500. I won't go over all of the changes other than, so the Board of Equalization, we increased that budget to 3,000. Health insurance, like Tracy just stated, we increased that to 3.5 million with that increase in 500,000. We upped the Tyler amount. All of this is reflected in the budget. And then of course the 60,000 for the surface drain, or surface water drainage fees. I don't know why I have the hardest time with that. Do you guys have any other changes that we have missed or that you noticed that you would like us to look at?
I just want clarification from the sheriff's office. Fully staffed, do you have 44 or 46 deputies or employees?
Based on what's budgeted,
Yeah,
right now we have 44.
okay. I was just trying to make the math.
We're getting confused on.
Well, between. So for 23, 24, we were trying to figure out whether it's just because it didn't have June in it or what, but when in 23, 24 salaries, I'm assuming were separated between detention and patrol. And when you combine those, you get a number about $2.29 million. And then the 24, 25 current appropriations are 2.6. I was just trying to figure out where the extra 300,000 came from. And Amanda was under the impression that it was a pay increase or a pay raise, but the percentage weren't aligned. So that's, I was just trying to figure out why it's off by 5% or about 4.5% on the salary range.
The commissioners approved a pay increase for 2023. That's the 2023-2024 budget.
That's, yeah.
You guys approved a pay increase, if I remember right, at
What was last year, yeah?
4%.
That's 24, 25.
So 24, 25.
23, 24.
So for 23-24, it would have been somewhere right around 3%, if my memory serves.
Okay.
Right. And then I think the compromise for 24-25 was at 4% or 4.5%.
I was just curious because what got printed in the paper and what you had actually proposed, I believe at the beginning of this month was different. So that's why I was trying to figure out.
And so what I proposed was $300,000 less,
No, it's 300,000 more.
$300,000. That doesn't make any sense.
No, this would have been for 24, 25. So, and then 25, 26. So what you have proposed is about even with last year. So that makes sense. If there was a pay
Increase last
increase.
year.
Okay. Thank you.
Got it?
Yep.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Just want our ideas on transferring. Is that where you're?
Yes,
That's where you're headed.
It's Tracy, yes. Amanda, since you're in there, can you,
Just a,
get out?
just a few questions. I know you always answer this for me, but one day I'll get it. The emergency reserve versus the general reserve. There are strings attached to the emergency reserve versus the general reserve. Can you remind me what those strings might be?
The emergency reserves are more readily accessible in the case of an emergency. So if, I'll pick on Chad because he's in the room now, but if he has a fire and you need cash right now, we can tap into that emergency reserve much quicker than the cash reserve. And the cash reserve is still accessible, but you have to go through maybe more of a resolution process to get to it.
Okay, emergency reserve, we don't really.
Yeah.
Okay. And then any other else, is there any other difference between any of those funds?
Probably the biggest difference in the funds is contingency. a large share of the contingency reserve was funded through direct aid. So that kind of will put some limitations on whether it can be used towards personnel or personnel expenses. So that would probably be more used for, if we had some infrastructure failure or, capital type needs or, well, anything non-personnel. Building reserve, salary reserve, and the new facility reserve, those were all basically created by your commissioner resolution and can be used for those purposes, but you can unreserve them by resolution. So for instance, everything was super in tip-top shape on the building reserve and you decided you wanted it to be in the salary reserve, you could do so. And you just need to do some form of a resolution or formal action to move building reserve into salary reserve. I mean, that's an extreme example. And do I ever think our buildings are going to be in tip-top shape? Because something always happens. No. I mean, it would be logical for you guys to do that. That's a really extreme example, but that's kind of the process.
And is the money in the emergency reserve held like a money market, and the contingency reserve would be in like a CD? Is that my understanding of that?
Pretty much the emergency reserve is held on our cash on hand, so it's available for expenditure as needed. The contingency part of the general reserve, those are in investments. Most of the investments, or a large portion, are in CDs, and they are in staggered. So after COVID, we went through and as things were maturing and we were optimistic that rates would be continuing to go up, we did kind of a ladder. So something renews or matures about every 2 months. We were hoping to, lock in rates at the higher rates. And we actually did fairly well. We were gaining interest at a pretty good rate, but all that aside, it's still liquid. You can still sell the CD on the market. The other part are generally like agency-backed bonds that are all treasuries, things like that. But everything is still sellable on the market should we need the cash. Another thing, anything that is not already invested is held at our bank account through First Interstate Bank. We do keep a minimum balance at First Interstate Bank of $6 million. That offsets the fees for ACHs, checks being written, because every transaction generates some sort of fee through banking. So that 6 million offsets the fees for every single county account that's open using our federal tax ID number. So whether it's the sheriff's bank account, the Kayla's bank account, that $6 million is working to offset that fee. Now, if you get a paper statement, it doesn't work towards that because that's a $2 fee, whether you want a paper statement. But all those other fees are generally offset through the analyzation of that. Now, everything over that 6 million sweeps every night to a sweep account. Last year, I want to say, I wasn't prepared to answer that number, but the rough estimate, when we did transfer banks, we got a really great introductory rate of over 6%. And I think every bank account that the county held started earning that interest rate. The general account, which is the large one, and the sweep account, we were making over $90,000 a month in interest. Now that rate's expired, so I will call them probably in a couple of weeks and ask, hey, what's the new rate going to be? And keep that going. So, I mean, every little penny that we can drum up through investments or interest, we're working on it like daily.
So would there be a place that you would rather, do you have recommendations for the transfers, or do you want us just to do it on our own here thing?
I honestly don't necessarily have any recommendations, and solely because
Everybody's goals are different with the commissions. You know, you might be more interested in salary reserve to, for stabilization. We can create a new reserve if you wanted, like the commissioner stabilization reserve.
Let's not make it.
My goal is we'll probably not use the salary stable reserve anytime soon. And so I would just like it to be earning as much money as it could, wherever that is, where that is. And some of these other things are the same to me. And so if making more deposits into places that are earning more interest, that makes sense to me. So.
Well, I agree.
Yeah, and
We
this
need to
number
make as much money as we can.
divides nicely by 4. So I would suggest, a quarter to general reserve, a quarter to the emergency, a quarter to the salary reserve, and a quarter to the new facilities reserve. And I don't think that deprives of interest on any front, does it? Other than the emergency
No.
reserve?
No, I mean, because right now interest rates are still not significantly decreased. Where we would be detrimental in any of those. So general reserve, emergency reserve, salary reserve, and new facility reserve.
Yeah.
So top 2, bottom 2. Okay.
Yeah. And that'd be
And a quarter of the 2 million.
$552,337.25 divided equally.
Okay.
That seems like a reasonable plan to me if you need me to weigh in on that. Yeah.
I think.
And like I
We're
said,
not, just so long as we're not doing a circus with it.
Right.
Yeah.
So with those and with all the changes, could we take a recess for maybe 15 minutes? We can get the resolution and then I will read through what all of the departments are to do that.
Sure.
Just because there are changes. So if we could take a recess for 15 minutes, do you think 15 minutes is enough time, man? Look here, yeah, it is 15 minutes. So
Move for a 15-minute recess.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We will recess at 10:14 for 15 minutes. So let's just say at 10:30 we'll come back. Thank you. Welcome back to the June 30th, 2025 special meeting of the Albany County Commissioners at 10:40. Kayla.
Hello again. Madam Chair and Commissioners, sorry, I had a brain fart there. First off, we have the resolution ready to approve the budget with all of the changes that were made, but also the transfers that Tracy made. I first off just want to say thank you to all the department heads and elected officials who came forward, cut their budgets per the request from the Board of County Commissioners. It turns out our year is not as bad. I think we can be really thankful that we are where we're at because I know that there are a lot of other counties that are struggling this year with the property tax cuts, way more than what we are. I think Albany County and Tracy can attest this too, is we're very frugal with our money. We've never had a lot of money, so we don't spend a lot of money. And I think that totally reflects in our reserves that we're able to have. We don't know what the next couple of years are going to look like. We don't know if the 50% tax cut is going to pass on the ballot, and that could make a total difference for us next year. So I think putting some money into reserves is the smart thing for us to do because we don't know where PILT's going to be. We just really don't know what the future holds. So I think having those reserves can only help us into the future. And I appreciate that the board wants to move in that direction to have those reserves in order to protect the county if something does happen, where the revenues are not where they're at right now. I don't know if Tracy has anything she wants to say. She doesn't. No. Okay. So per all of the changes that we made, I can go through and read the whole resolution if you would like me to with the amounts. It will be posted on the website, but it's a resolution making appropriations and authorizing the expenditure of funds to cover Albany County for the fiscal year of July 1, 2025 to June 30, 2026. The resolution, our total estimated, I can maybe instead of all the individual, I'll do our estimated, our total. So our total general fund is 19,164,519. The estimated grant and other special expenditures is 14 million. The total special funds, which includes the employee health benefit, the road fund, the abandoned vehicles, the commissary account, the jail endowment overage, debit card transaction fees, vehicle replacement, grant match, IT technology, drug asset forfeiture, economic development, impact assistance, the 2001, 10, and 18 specific purpose taxes, and fire reimbursement is a total of $23,088,561.94. And then our total appropriation requirements with everything and all of the reserves is $86,077,409.93. And of that, our estimated total revenues, that of $86,077,409.93. As stated, do you have a question? Oh. With that is our budget for the fiscal year 2025, 2026. At your pleasure to approve.
Do you guys get a vacation after all this? Because I know this has been a row. Yeah.
I do not. No.
You're just leaving town.
I move we approve the fiscal year 2025, 2026 Albany County budget as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you, guys.
And I will move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, everyone, for attending, and it's always nice to see everybody's happy faces.